the limited sportsman. And taking to the mic, the voice of the Am Speedway, Tim Balls. Tim?
Thank you very much, Jamie Davis. Glad to have you joining me up here in the booth once again as we get set to go. One and only heat race tonight for the Doneth Motorworks Limited Sportsman. Heat behind the wheel, the Bob Johnson Auto Group Am Speedway Pace Truck. None other than one Matt Burdick tonight. So good to see Matthew back aboard the Am Speedway Pace Truck from Bob Johnson's, as it will be Jay Reid going from the pole in the 45, Jason Rarick alongside in the 4. Row number 2, it's Hayden Howard, the 21, with the 6 of last week's winner, Mike Durham. Row number 3, it will be the 31 of Cayden Graham with the 26 of Mitchell Hyde, and Rhylan Poole, and the 76 will complete it. Now, Remington Ham and Cameron Black are out there just trying to sort out some issues they had in hot laps, so they'll tag on to the tail end of this field here, and we'll pull in after a lap. But we're ready to go. Again, all starts and restarts tonight will be at the FX Caprara Kia start zone in turn 3 and 4. Jay Reid and Jason Rarick on the front row. Green lights are on, and we're underway. And Jay Reid is waiting for nobody. Jumps into the lead. Mitchell Hyde way upstairs. Have to find some running room. There's their 3 wide back there for positions 3, 4, and 5. Mike Durham making the big move on the top side. He'll go to third. Tries to get around Jason Rarick for the 2 spot. Couldn't quite get it there, but lap number 1 is complete. And Jay Reid in control as they cross the line for lap number 1. Jason Rarick looking really strong here and nearly going to this one, holding on to second, but here comes Cayden Graham to the inside lane. 5 cars all in a knot right there, going after each other for the race lead. It's Jay Reid in control as Rarick working that outside lane to turn number 3 and 4. Rarick's got a good look upstairs. He's going to try to find the lead, but Jay Reid has a spot. Mike Durham bounces off Cayden Graham and then gets bounced off of Jason Rarick down the front straightaway, keeps it going straight. In the meantime, great battle up in front. Here comes Rarick to the high side of the racetrack. Jay Reid trying to fend off 3 different cars. Look at Mike Durham through the middle. 3 wide going into turn number 3 and 4. And Jay Reid pulls away, but Mike Durham trying to make the big move through the middle. He's looking for second as they go into turn number 1 and 2. And Jay Reid to the lead, but Mike Durham on the move. He charges by Cayden Graham for second. Now he's looking at Jay Reid for the race lead. 3 wide again, down into turn number 3 and 4. Mike Durham to the point as they go to turn 3 and 4. Reid and Cayden Graham battling for the 2 spot. In the meantime, Mike Durham with 2 laps left to go. He's got the lead as they go to 1 and 2. Cayden Graham back to second. Hayden Howard now third. If we look at the top 3 right now, this was the top 3 in the finishing order from a week ago. And Rhylan Poole has made his way into the top 5. He's now moved to 4th. Jason Rarick having a strong run in 5th. Jay Reid and Mitchell Hyde completed down across the line. White flag in the air for Mike Durham. He'll try to set it up into turn number 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway one more time. Final time. Down the back straightaway. It is Mike Durham in control of the field. Checkered flag will wave, and Mike Durham continues his strong run here at Can-Am. Picks up yet another heat win in the Doneth Motorworks Limited Sportsman. Cody Graham crosses in second. Hayden Howard, Rhylan Poole, Jason Rarick, Jay Reid, and Mitchell Hyde. And ladies and gentlemen, heat race number 1 is in. Panther Frameworks, great sprints, ready to go. And Jamie, I don't have any fingernails left after that heat race. Unbelievable.
I can see why, but
yeah.
If that's any indication of the way the night's going to go, it's going to be a good one.
Well, there you go. I'll turn it over to you for heat race number 1.
Panther Frameworks 602 crate sprint cars coming out onto the speedway, and here's the way it's going to go. Row number 1 on the inside will go the 74 of Will Fisher, Will out of Chittenango. On the outside of that front row will go the 2X of Mike Amell out of Watertown. The second row on the inside will go the 271 out of Rochester, New York. That's the Tiger Chapman. And on the outside will go the 87 of Andrew Hennessy. Andrew out of Picton, Ontario. The next row on the inside will go the 25 of George Sanford out of Lafargeville. And on the outside, the 557 of Pat Nolan. Pat out of Parrish. The next row on the inside will go the 24 out of Liverpool, New York. That's Kody Graham. And on the outside will go the 1V of Josh Verne. And in that final starting spot out of Joyceville, Ontario, the number 14W of Kyle Wilson. The first of 2 heats for the Panther Frameworks 602 crate sprint cars. And in just a moment, they will have everything all together. And Everybody will pick up their positions, and they'll make their way around. And behind the Bob Johnson Auto Group pace truck and around to the FX Caprara Kia starting zone.
And the one thing we see out there, of course, is the Massey's Furniture Barn caution flag. That'll be about the only time we want to see it here tonight is when we're under pace laps, right?
Yeah, well, it depends on how you look at that. If you're Massey's Furniture Barn, you want to see that a lot more.
Absolutely, yeah.
But many race fans don't want to see that a lot.
Oh, yes. And if you can't find Massey's Furniture Barn in Watertown, they have got Benny the Bull on top of their establishment, so you can't miss them.
Benny's been a fixture there for a long time.
Long time.
All right, white flag is out from Mike Leclerc, and we'll be going racing next time around. One car has gone to the pits already, and it looks like, from what Tim Baltz tells me, it's Kody Graham in the 24 out of Liverpool, and that's a bit of a drive to get here and have something go wrong. So the cars will double up over there. As Kyle Wilson will move up another spot there from the back. All right, they're headed around to the FX Caprara Kia start zone. Mike Leclerc looks them over. Round they come. Green flag is out, and we're racing. And Will Fisher wastes no time, and he gets out there. Amell to the high side of the track. The Tiger down on the bottom for third right now. Here's Andrew Hennessy trying to move up. Out of Picton, Ontario, he gets up to the number 4 spot. Around they come for the first time. It's Wiley Will Fisher up on the front end in the number 74. They come off the turn. 3 of them across the track for that number 2 spot. Amell down on the inside there as Tiger Chapman and Hennessy have it out to the number 3 spot. And Hennessy will take over the number 3 qualifying spot. Will Fisher opens up about a 6-car length lead as they come off that number 4 turn. And around to complete lap number 2, and it's Fisher still up in front. Amell rides back there in the number 2 spot. Big battle going on for that 2nd spot. The Tiger trying to move up. Tiger Chapman out of Rochester, New York, and he moves up to the number 2 qualifying spot. Amell drops back to 3rd now as Fisher has opened it up by about 7 or 8 car lengths now over Tiger Chapman. And Josh Verne making a heck of a move right there. He gets by Hennessy for the number 4 qualifying spot, and also gets by Amell and moves up to the number 3 qualifying spot. So Josh Verne on the move in that 1V. Around they come. Halfway side is out for the 74 of Will Fisher. Tiger Chapman right there in the number 2 spot. Josh Verne is back there in 3rd. Amell runs back there in 4th. Hennessy runs in 5th. George Sanford is back there in the number 6 spot. Around they come. Will Fisher opening up by about 10 right now as they come down the front stretch. Fisher up in front. Josh Verne on the inside of Tiger Chapman, and he'll get by the Tiger for the number 2 qualifying spot. Verne really on the move in that 1V. Chapman drops back to the number 3 spot. Amell runs back there 4th. Hennessy rounds out the top 5. George Sanford sits there in 6th. 2 to go for Wiley Will Fisher. And oh gosh, we've got a rollover in turn number 3.
And a red flag is out. George Sanford upside down over there. That was George Sanford aboard the number 25.
And those of you watching us on DTD, they are inside the car and they are trying to make sure George is okay. I did not catch that. I caught the tail end of it when he came down.
Well, he just got a little bit out of the groove over there in turn 3 and 4 and just clipped the wall and upside down he went. But good news there, James.
Yeah, as we can see, George is out of the car and it looks like he's okay, ladies and gentlemen. Now but a nice hand for George Sanford. Yeah, George got up to where the loose stuff is, and that will cause you to get out of shape in a real big hurry, and there is significant damage on that car.
Certainly, and George has been through a couple of tough hits here in the last few weeks. Even after he picked up that win on July 24th, it has been just some rough luck for him, but he's resilient. He'll turn it around and get back going again. George, 6 career Can-Am wins to his credit. 3 of them came in the pure stock division here back in the 1999 and 2000, and then 25 years later, he went to victory lane in a great sprint car here. 2 times a year ago, and got another one here a couple of weeks back.
George is taking a look at the damage. It's amazing how most drivers, when they get out of something like that, everybody is concerned about them, and they say, I'm fine, I'm more concerned about the car, and I can understand why.
Sure.
That's the first thing they want to find out, is if that car's all right, and how much damage is there, and can I get it ready for the feature?
That's true, and George will do whatever possible to try to get it back out there, even if it means jumping in another car to maybe salvage some points tonight if he has to. But
just to give you an idea how fast these crate sprint cars are going, ladies and gentlemen, Will Fisher has turned a lap of 19.177, and Josh Verne is definitely the fastest car out there. Josh turned a lap of 19.157 before the red light came on, and he is on the move in this caution lap. This might give him a chance to take this qualifier.
I think so, and it could very well happen. He's been that good here at Can-Am in the recent years. Again, a 4-time track champion Josh is, and of course is the runaway point leader right now, 72 points to the good over Andrew Hennessy. As we look on our monitor up here, George has actually gotten back in the car just to kind of steer it back while he's on the business end of the tow truck, as good friend Dan Martin says from Albany Saratoga Speedway.
Yeah, he's got significant rear end damage on that. I don't know if that's going to be able to be taken care of or not. That's one thing. I don't spend enough time around these sprint cars, and I probably should. But I can tell you, when you have a lot of rear end damage on a modified or something like that, your evening is pretty well done, unless you can replace an axle or
pretty
anything
much
else on the back end.
And while we got a quick moment here, I'm sure you did see this on social media as well. Longtime race director at our at the other Friday night track that runs up in Akwesasne, Mohawk International Raceway, PJ Hearn.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we lost him this week. Got the text from our other announcing partner, Brian Page, about that one. Him and PJ were very close, and you knew PJ very well, too.
Yeah, I go back a long ways with PJ. He was a race director. He was an assistant starter.
Yeah.
He was all over that place, and he had the respect of all the drivers and all the race teams when he was there. He will be very, very much missed.
Absolutely. And got to work with PJ for a number of years, and attorney by trade.
Yes.
Very good one, too, by the way.
Excellent.
Yep. But certainly are going to miss him for sure, but our thoughts and our prayers are with the MIR family and, of course, the family of PJ Hearn here tonight. Well, Massey's Furniture Barn caution flag is back out.
They'll realign themselves, and we'll be off and racing once again.
So Matt Burdick behind the wheel of the Bob Johnson Auto Group Can-Am Speedway Pace Truck here tonight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're just about set to go back racing once again. This should be an interesting restart with Will Fisher and the number 2X of Mike Amell, third generation driver up there in that front row. All right, they're headed towards the FX Caprara Kia start zone. Mike Leclerc looks them over, says, you look really good. Green flag is out, and away we go. And Will Fisher gets the jump on Josh Verne in that 1V. Tiger Chapman moved back in real quick, but it was only for a moment, as Josh Verne has moved up to the number 2 qualifying spot. Down the front straightaway they come. White flag is out, and Will Fisher still has that lead. Verne is right there trying to get by him. He tries to get by him on the inside part of that number 2 turn, but Fisher able to get the edge, and he's opened up about a 3-car length lead. Checkered flag is coming out, ladies and gentlemen. Will Fisher on a Chittenden, New York will win it. Josh Verne will take the number 2 spot. Tiger Chapman will get 3rd. Andrew Hennessy will get the number 4 spot. And the 2X, Mike Amell, will round out the top 5. But ladies and gentlemen, how about a nice hand for the number 74 out of Chittenden, New York, Will Fisher. Second qualifying event, getting ready to come out onto the speedway. And once again, here's Tim Ball.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Of course, that's Will Fisher's second heat win of the season. Got one back on June the 12th, and he's back, so ready to go. for heat race number 2. So scheduled to go away from the pole will be the 16 of Anthony Fiorentino out of Watertown, just alongside of him in the number 4, that's Emma Donath. Row number 2, Tucker Donath, the Z28, along with the 71R of Rachel Zacharias. Row 3, it's Ken Klinkowsky in the 30, Josh Vanbrocklin in the X Machine. Final row, Adam Turner in the 92 with the 21 of Eric Laurendeau. That will do it as Vanbrocklin makes his way out onto the racetrack. Josh, a feature winner with us. Back on June the 19th. 8 laps will be the distance. Coming up after this, it will be the Whitesboro Plow Shop DIRTcar 358 modified heat races. They'll go 8 laps in distance tonight. By the way, wanted to send a shout out to a couple of good friends of mine from the Brockville, Ontario Speedway. Mike Saunders and Sandra Graham in the house tonight. And Sandra, of course, and Mike, they run their own podcast called Talk Dirt to Me. And they feature everybody on there. From superstar race car drivers to superstar announcers. They got to get Jamie Davis on there for a crack at this one. That's never going to happen. Right. Well, a little persuasion, I think. A little persuasion, I think he could get it done. But check out Mike Saunders, Sandra Graham on Talk Dirt to Me. They got a great podcast going there, and a lot of great people have been on it, and hopefully be able to hear the next one.
You've heard of the Billboard Top 100 chart, right?
Yeah.
Well, on the Billboard Top 100 announcers, I'm number 101.
Oh, so. Come on. You're number 1. Ready to go at the FX Caprara Kia start zone. Green lights are on. 8 laps the distance. We're underway. Charging down into current turn number 1 and 2. It is, Rachel Zacharias goes around on a full 360. How about a 7, well, whatever that would be, about 1.5 spins around in turn number 2. And the yellow lights are back on. Massey's Furniture Barn caution flag waves. Rachel Zacharias, a couple of top 5 runs for her this season in that number 71 machine. Good to see her with us tonight. 50-50 is going on once again. Like Jack Burgess used to say, the more the play, the bigger it pays. Only cost $1. Give the girls a holler.
That's right. And you never know. You may be a winner. You've got just as good a chance as anybody else.
And all it takes is 1 ticket.
And 50% of that, of course, goes back to a lucky fan. The other 50% goes to the Drivers' Point Fund.
Right.
And, of course, the more people that play, the drivers and the team owners, they love it. So play as often as you can. It's only $1.
Absolutely.
Give them a holler and say, hey, I want a 50-50 ticket.
Well, Chris Marcinko did it last night at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Walked out of there with $500 more than what I did.
Yep, my wife Karen did it about 2-3 weeks ago at Mohawk. So if they can do it, you surely can. Give it a try.
I will try. You know, I think really needs to buy a 50-50 ticket tonight as Rachel Zacharias goes on by. I think Dave and Cindy Johnson from Direct Subs need to get a 50-50 ticket. How are you doing? A couple of longtime bowlers at the old Theresa Bowling Center just down the street here.
Yeah, and the original owners of Direct Subs when they first started that.
In Alex Bay.
Yep. Mr. Martin himself, he was a really good bowler. He bowled in the county league with me.
That's right, yeah.
And,
I forgot, yeah, you
he was
did
an
bowl
excellent
there,
bowler.
Yeah. I nearly won the county league one year. Only once. Never got close after that. Well, here we go. Hopefully everybody on Dirt Track Digest is enjoying the broadcast here tonight. Glad you could join us. Again, if you can't join us live here at Can-Am, be sure to join us on DirtTrackDigest.tv. And if you can't join us here at the races or on Dirt Track Digest, be sure to follow along on the My Race Pass app. Download that to your smartphone or mobile device, whatever you use, and follow along with the live timing and scoring here at Can-Am. As we're set to go, FX Caprara Kia start zone over there in turn number 4, and Anthony Fiorentino went at about turn 3. A little bit early. Boy, these drivers trying to gain an edge. So, again, all starts and restarts will be at that FX Caprara Kia start zone right there in turn number 4. Well, much better start that time, a little closely grouped together. We're back underway. And again, Anthony Fiorentino out to the lead. Watch Emma Donath go on the outside lane, and Donath takes over the lead. Emma, that is, hustling down the back straightaway with the top spot. Anthony Fiorentino back there in second. Adam Turner picked up a win here a couple of weeks ago, is third as they work it off of turn number 3 and 4 and down to the line. Emma Donath in control as they complete lap number 1. One lap is down, and Donna trying to run away and hide. Best battle on the track is for that runner-up spot as Fiorentino has it. Turner trying to take it away. Josh Vanbrocklin making a big move on Tucker Donath to move up into the 5 spot as we continue to watch this battle for second. It's a good one as Emma Donath drives away. Turner, he'll grab the 2 spot down into turn number 1 and 2. Anthony Fiorentino, Ken Klinkowsky now battling for spots 3 and 4 as Josh Vanbrocklin moving in on the Klinkowsky number 30 machine as they hustle into turn number 3 and 4. But again, Emma Donath in control of the field. She has been from the drop of the green flag as they work in lap number 3. Again, 8 laps is the scheduled distance, first or second of 2 on the night for the Panther Frameworks Great Sprint Cars. Whitesboro Plow Shop, DIRTcar 358 Modifieds will be up next. In the meantime, though, Emma Donath working good off of turn number 3 and 4. Healthy advantage over the rest of the field as they work in lap number 4 of this 8-lap heat event. Halfway home, Emma Donath in control as they work it down the back straightaway one more time. Donath setting sail, driving away from the field. Adam Turner still there in second as Donath runs away down in front. Turner right there in the 2 spot. Adam Turner, a couple of weeks ago, picked up his first ever Can-Am win in that 92 ride out of Picton, Ontario, Canada, Cherry Valley to be exact, and also won at Brockville the next night, so his first ever weekend sweep in this class. But right now, Emma Donath trying to run away and hide and win this heat race, and she's done just that, about a 1.60 second advantage over the rest of the field as they work it down the bank straight away. White flag will be displayed this time by. White flag will be waving for Emma Donath as she'll set it up on the bottom and work it up to the outside lane in turn number 3 and 4 across the line. White flag in the air for Emma Donath. Looking for her first ever heat win here in Can-Am as they work it down for corner number 2 and down the back straightaway. Final time into turn number 3 and 4. She's dominated this heat race right from the opening bell. Checkered flag is in the air. First ever heat win at Can-Am for Emma Donath. Second will go to Adam Turner. Josh Vanbrocklin will cross in third. Kenny Klinkowsky 4th. Tucker Donath 5th. At the line for 6th, that will be Anthony Fiorentino, Rachel Zacharias, and Eric Laurendeau. And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the Panther Frameworks Great Sprint Cars. First of 2 heats in Whitesboro Plow Shop DIRTcar 358 Modifieds. And with the call of heat race number 1, here is the legend himself, Jamie Davis.
Thank you, Tim.
You're very welcome.
Whitesboro Plow Shop, DIRTcar 358 Modifieds, headed out onto the speedway. And here's the way it's going to go. Run number 1 on the inside will go the 39T of Taylor Dockstader. Taylor out of Philadelphia. On the outside will go the number 11 of Genevieve Bartlett. Genevieve out of Watertown. Row number 2 on the inside will go the 11C of Matt Caprara, Matt out of Clayton. And on the outside will go the number 91 of Josh Rayon, Josh out of Clayton. The next row on the inside will go the 24 of Remington Ham, Remington out of Rodman. And on the outside will go the 23, been red hot lately, out of Lafargeville, New York, that's Cameron Black. The next row on the inside will go the 49, out of Watertown, New York, that's Billy Dunn. And on the outside will go the number 19, out of Watertown, New York, that's Tim Fuller. set to go as they approach the FX Caprara Kia start zone. Mike Leclerc looks them over and says, let's go racing. And down the front straightaway they come. And look out. Both Caprara and Genevieve Bartlett coming together. It's a mad dash for the number 2 spot out there. Genevieve trying to hold her own out there as Caprara gets to the inside part of the racetrack. But it's all Taylor Dockstader up in front right now with a 39T. 3 of them across the track for that number 2 spot as they come down the front straightaway. Dockstader in front. Matt Caprara is back there in second. Genevieve Bartlett runs there in third. Riom is up on the inside with that number 91. And Riom will take over the number 3 qualifying spot. Here's Genevieve Bartlett back on the inside with the number 11. A big battle going on for the number 3 qualifying spot out there as they come off the turn. Once again, a complete lap number 2, and it's still Dockstader in front with Caprara back there in the number 2 spot. Josh Riom has got all he can do to hang on to that number 3 qualifying spot. Back there in the number 4 spot, it's Remington Ham. Behind the wheel of the number 24 tonight. And Tim Fuller moves into the top 5. Around they come once again, a complete lap number 3, and it's still Caprara up there in the number 11. He's your leader, Matt, with about a 3 or 4 car length lead over Taylor Dockstader in the 39T as he's taken away that number 1 qualifying spot. Remington Ham sits back there in third. Josh Riom is fourth. Tim Fuller rounds out the top 5. They come around. Billy Dunn is back there, 6th. Genevieve Bartlett is falling off the pace. She runs there in 7th, and Cameron Black is back there in 8th. Matt Caprara has opened it up right here. He maintains about an 11 car length lead, and he is flying around this racetrack with that number 11. Coming around to complete lap number 5. Here comes the 24 of Remington Ham out of Rodman. He takes over the number 2 qualifying spot. Dockstader drops back to 3rd. Josh Riom runs there in 4th. And now Tim Fuller and Billy Dunn battle it out for that number 5 spot. Round they come, and Caprara still up in front. Dockstader runs there in 3rd. The 24 of Remington Ham sits there in the number 2 spot. Josh Riom is back there 4th. Billy Dunn is now 5th. Tim Fuller sits back there in 6th. Cameron Black is 7th, and Genevieve Bartlett runs in the number 8 spot. Matt Caprara, the white flag is out for him. Remington Ham is back there in the number 2 spot. Taylor Dockstader sits there in 3rd. Josh Riom is back there 4th. Billy Dunn rounds out the top 5. Tim Fuller 6th. Cameron Black is 7th, and then Genevieve Bartlett. Checkered flag comes out on the racetrack, and it'll be Matt Caprara, your winner. Remington Ham will get the number 2 spot. Taylor Dockstader will finish in 3rd. Josh Riom is 4th. And Billy Dunn rounds out the top 5. But ladies and gentlemen, boy, he put on an exhibition out there. Out of Clayton, New York, the number 11C of Matt Caprara. Second qualifying event getting ready to come out onto the Speedway. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, the voice of the Am Speedway, Tim Balls.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Appreciate that. Great call of heat race number 1 as heat race number 2 rolls trackside. It's going to be the 45 of Preston Forbes going away from the pole. Outside will be Tyler Meeks in the 17. Row number 2 is going to be Andy Howard in the number 21 with Jackson Gill in the direct subs number 60 alongside. Row number 3, Scott Webb in the 18W along with the 31 of Lance Willix and Sean Shaw aboard car number 7S rounding out this field. As we're set and ready to go, 8 laps will be the distance. Matt Burdick aboard the Bob Johnson Auto Group Can-Am Speedway pace truck. He'll take it to the safe haven end of the infield there in turn, just before turn number 3. Burdick makes the hard left-hand turn. Preston Forbes looking to make some left-hand turns as well. We're set to go green at the FX Caprara Kia start zone in turn number 4. Leclerc looks them over. Green lights are on and we're underway. Once again, field working it up in 1 and 2. Forbes on the bottom, Meeks up on the top side, and Tyler Meeks once again will grab the lead. Lance Willick started back in position number 6. He is already up to spot number 3 and looking for more as they cross the line for lap number 1. It is going to be Tyler Meeks in control. Lap 1 scored for Tyler Meeks. Preston Forbes, who had some struggles here last week, holds on to second as they work it down the back straightaway one more time. Lance Willicks there for third. Jackson Gill fourth. Scott Webb moving into the top 5 for the first time tonight. He gets by Andy Howard in the 21. Sean Shaw looking to move forward as well as they cross the line at lap number 2. But Tyler Meeks has got some company. Here comes Preston Forbes to that inside lane. Preston a strong runner here at Can-Am as we watch Lance Willicks and Jackson Gill go at it. There's Willicks in the 31. 3 wins already this season for Lance, 2 at Glen Ridge, 1 at the Fulton Speedway, but is still winless here at Can-Am and wants to change that tonight. Here for the good folks at Bob Johnson Auto Group, but Preston Forbes, Tyler Meeks, they're making it tough on him as they hustle down the back straightaway. Good move by Willicks. Went from the outside lane to the inside lane, down the back straightaway. Lance Willicks to second as they roll it into turn 3 and 4 and down to the line. We're halfway home. 4 down, 4 to go for Meeks. Tyler Meeks in control of the field. 31 of Willicks now holds on to second. Preston Forbes, Jackson Gill, Scott Webb, that's your top 5. Sean Shaw looking to move up one spot, and he does. He works it by Scott Webb down into turn number 3 and 4. Webb trying the crossover. No such luck that time. In the meantime, we got a battle for the lead shaping up once again as Tyler Meeks making the return to the Whitesboro Plow Shop DIRTcar 350 Modified Division this season, trying to battle with one of the best in this class over the years. Lance Willicks, the 31. 3-time and defending Hoosier Racing Tire Weekly Series champion for the DIRTcar 358 Modified Division. Holds down second with 2 laps left to go, and the battle is on. Here comes Willicks in a bid for the lead on the inside lane. Meeks going to keep it going up on the outside lane. Willicks right there with him, right on the back bumper, right to the hip pocket as they go to turn number 3 and 4. The white flag will be displayed this time by. This race is far from over with. Meeks has it, Willicks wants it. White flag in the air. Final time through turn number 1 and 2. Willicks to the bottom once again. Meeks is going to keep it wound up upstairs. And Meeks with the advantage on the top side, at least for now. Willicks trying to get back after him in turn number 3 and 4. We'll see if he goes to the bottom. He does. Meeks is right there with him. Slips up just a little bit. Here comes Willicks. Drag race to the line. Half car length win for Tyler Meeks. Lance Willicks will cross in second. My, what a finish that was. Preston Forbes, Jackson Gill, Sean Shaw, Scott Webb, but my goodness, what a finish in Whitesboro Plow Shop DIRTcar 358 Modified Heat Race number 2 as Bob Johnson Auto Group DIRTcar Sportsman Heat Race number 1.
And that last one was a great one. I'm sure this one is going to be, if that was horse racing, we'd say hold your tickets at the finish line.
I've got my tickets right here. I'll take it away, my friend.
Yes, Bob Johnson Auto Group DIRTcar Sportsman Heat number 1 coming out onto the speedway. Here's the way it's going to go. Row number 1 on the inside will go the number 90 of Caleb Howard. Caleb out of Hammond. On the outside of the front row will go the 1D of Paul DeRutter. Paul out of Inlet. The next row on the inside will go the 34K of Keegan Dyer. And on the outside, the Fox 28 car of Tyler Stevenson. The next row on the inside will go the 52 out of Kingston, Ontario, Canada, Jessica Power. And on the outside will go the 18 of Gavin Isley, Gavin out of Lafargeville. And at final starting spot will go the number 62 out of Carthage, New York. That's Jonathan Murphy. Green flag is out, and we're off and racing. Down the front straightaway they come. And Caleb Howard and Paul DeRutter dice it out for the number 1 spot. Here's Tyler Stevenson up on the outside. He wants to go up to the next spot. But down on the inside comes Keegan Dyer in the 34K. Big battle going on for the number 2 spot. Stevenson says, I like the outside. I'm going to take that route around. But as they come off the turn, it is Paul DeRutter up in front. Caleb Howard is back there in the number 2 spot. Tyler Stevenson right there in the number 3 spot. 3 of them across the track for the 3rd qualifying spot. Tyler Stevenson on the outside there. Paul DeRutter's your leader as they come off the turn. Caleb Howard right there in the number 2 spot. Stevenson back there in 3rd. Dyer runs in 4th. Gavin Isley up to the 5th spot right now. Jessica Power rides back there 6th. And Jonathan Murphy is 7th. Paul DeRutter trying to open it up right here. He's got about a 5-car length lead over the number 90 of Caleb Howard out of Hammond, New York. Around they come, and it's still DeRutter up in front. Howard is right there in the number 2 spot. Keegan Dyer moved up to 3rd now. Tyler Stevenson trying to take that 3rd qualifying spot away as he's working the outside of this racetrack, and he hasn't veered off of that much at all. as he still sits in the number 4 spot. Gavin Isley rounds out the top 5. Here's Stevenson again trying to get around and take over that number 3 qualifying spot. But Nyer fights back on the inside, and he tries to hold on to it to Stevenson. That's moved up to the number 3 qualifying spot. Nyer once again trying down low to try to get that back away from him. But Stevenson is too tough back there. But it is all Paul DeRudder up in front. And he's got about a 7-car length lead over his nearest competitor, Caleb Howard, as they come off the turn to complete lap number 5, and it's still DeRudder in front. Caleb Howard is back there, the number 2 spot. Stevenson runs back there 3rd. Nyer is 4th. Gavin Isley rounds out the top 5. Then comes Jessica Power in the 52 and the 62 of Jonathan Murphy. It is now about an 8-car length lead for Paul DeRudder. He is waiting for nobody out there. 2 to go for Paul DeRudder in the number 1D. Caleb Howard still back there in the number 2 spot. Stevenson runs there in 3rd. Nyer still working the bottom of the side of that racetrack, trying to get that number 3 qualifying spot back. And Gavin Isley rounds out the top 5. Then comes Jessica Power and Jonathan Murphy in the 62. White flag is out for Paul DeRudder. And Caleb Howard has got his hands full again as Stevenson in that Fox 28 car trying to move in to take away the number 2 qualifying spot. And Caleb Howard got a little too far down low, and he clipped one of the tires on the inside part of the racetrack. And he moved up just high enough for Stevenson to take over the number 2 qualifying spot. Checkered flag is out for Paul DeRudder out of Inlet, New York. Tyler Stevenson will get the number 2 spot. Caleb Howard will get 3rd. Nyer will finish in the number 4 spot. Gavin Isley will round out the top 5. Then comes Jessica Power in the 52, finishing 6th. And Jonathan Murphy will get the number 7 spot. But ladies and gentlemen, how about I say it? He hails out of Inlet, New York, the number 1D of Paul DeRudder. Second qualifying event coming out onto the Speedway. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, here's Tim Baltz. Tim?
Thank you very much, Jamie. Is heat race number 2 of 3 for the Bob Johnson Auto Group DIRTcar Sportsman. Ready to go. As we take a look at heat race number 1, or number 2 rather. We'll try heat race number 2. Oh, there's Bennett Gadbob on top of the flag stand. He's taking over for Mike Leclerc. And it will be Greg Gould scheduled to go, but we see Frank Sibley's on the pole. Justin Gadbob alongside in row number 1. Row number 2, Owen Nyer in the 17, along with the 14 of Camden Cook. Row 3, Dustin Hutton in the number 7D with last week's winner, Carl Comfort in the number 10 machine, and Greg Gould's going to start tail on the field. 8 laps is the distance, ready to go green at the FX Caprara Kia start zone in turn number 4. Green lights are on, and Bennett turns them loose as they head up into turn number 1 and 2, and down the back straightaway. It's Frank Sibley out in front of the field. Justin Gadbob, look at Carl Comfort threading the needle between Dustin Hutton and Camden Cook, looking for that number 4 spot as they work it up into turn number 3 and 4. Carl Comfort really likes this speedway and has found some speed here as he tries to pull even with Camden Cook down the front straightaway, but they complete lap number 1 with Frank Sibley in control. Owen Nyer, Justin Gadbob, your top 3. Watch Camden Cook in the 14. He's quick out there as Gadbob holds on to the number 3 position. Right behind the 17 of Owen Nyer as they roll it into turn number 3 and 4, and down to the line. Frank Sibley in control. Man out of Calcium, New York. Strong season so far this year. Frank picked up his first career feature win after many years of trying back on June the 5th. And right now he holds about a 4-car length advantage over the 17 of Owen Nyer as they sit back there in spots 1 and 2 as they roll it into turn number 3 and 4 and down to the line. Comfortable advantage for Sibley right now as we watch the battle for 3rd between Justin Gadbob and the 14 of Camden Cook as they roll it into turn number 1 and 2. Gadbob, that car looks like it doesn't want to turn very good in the corner as Camden Cook gets a really good drive up on the outside lane, and they'll pull even terms with one another into turn number 3 and 4. Gadbob on the bottom, Camden Cook rolling the outside lane. It looks like Cam the man's going to try to get the run on the outside. Can't quite get there. They'll pull even again down into turn number 1 and 2. Good seesaw battle for that number 3 spot as the top 2 pull away. We're watching the battle once again for 3rd between Gadbob and Cook as they work it down into turn number 3 and 4. We'll score lap number 5 this time by, and Frank Sibley has been dominant in this one as they work it off at turn number 3 and 4. And finally, Camden Cook able to get that spot away. It just shows how evenly matched these race cars are. It took him a lap and a half to make that pass on Justin Gadbob for the 3 spot. Tough racing out here in the Bob Johnson Auto Group Dirt Car Sportsman. But right now, Frank Sibley is making it look easy as he holds down the lead with 2 laps left to go. Owen Nyer still second as they roll it down into turn number 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. Healthy advantage for Sibley. 1.7 seconds is the spread between those two drivers. As the white flag will be waving this time by. Final trip around the Am Speedway for Frank Sibley in the 92. He'll bring it down to the line. Comfortable lead right now. Frank looking for his second heat win on the season. Got one back on July 31st. Now right now, down the back straightaway. Half straightaway advantage for the man out of Calcium, New York, as Frank Sibley rolls into turn number 3 and 4. Checkered flag in the air. Second heat win of the season will go to Frank Sibley. Owen Nyer will cross in second. Camden Cook will come home third. Justin Ganbaugh fourth. Carl Comfort fifth. Justin Hutton and Greg Gould will round out the rest of the field. And that does it. Heat race number 2 is in the record books. Heat race number 3 for the Bob Johnson Auto Group Dirt Car Sportsman. And with the call is the man himself, Jamie Davis, everybody.
Third qualifying event coming out onto the speedway for the Bob Johnson Dirt Car Sportsman. And here's the way it's going to go. Row number 1 on the inside will go the Thurston Racing car number 2. Out of Clayton, New York, of Greg Henry. On the outside will go the 44 of the amazing Mason Rogers. Mason out of Lafargeville. Row number 2 on the inside will go the number 9 of Logan Brown out of Clayton, New York. And on the outside, the 621 of Trevor Gibbons. Trevor out of Carthage. The next row on the inside will go the 34 of Eric Nyer out of Carthage. And on the outside, the 54 of Brady Howard. Brady out of Hammond. And on that final starting spot, the number 418 of Brody Davis out of Rome, New York. All right, we're set to go as they approach the FX Caprara Kia start zone. Mike LeClaire looks him over and says, nope, we're not going to go. He did not like the looks of the beginning of that. And a lot going on that he didn't care for. So we will regroup and we'll do that again. Looks, Tim Balls, like everybody's got the jumps tonight. That's the second time we've seen
I'll tell you what, everybody wants to get going. They're up on the wheel. They want to win heat races with Logan Brown pulling it to a complete stop in the middle of the back straightaway. But you're right. Everybody is ready to go. They know that this is going to be their last opportunity to get any kind of win whatsoever before we go into that off week. And, you know, people that go in and into an off week with a win, well, you're sitting...
yeah, championship night's going to roll along before you blink an eyeball here.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you talk championship, just taking a quick look at the Bob Johnson Auto Group Dirt Car Sportsman point standings right now. Gavin Isley, he leads the way, 694 over Jessica Power at 686. That's an 8-point separation between those two drivers. Eric Nyer sits back there third at 674, just 20 points back. He still has a legitimate shot at it. Tyler Stevenson, he's still very much in the fight too. He's fourth at 666, just 28 back. Richard Murtaugh, not here with us tonight. As he kind of made a post on the social media that he was going to be strictly focusing on a lot of the big Dirt Car Sportsman Series races that are coming up here in the next few weeks. He is chasing that overall championship, but yes, still a battle among the top 4, at least for the championship. Now, with Murtaugh not in the picture, that could mean Keegan Nyer and Frank Sibley have a chance to move up into the top 5 here as we start to wind the season down. So a close, tight point battle up front.
A victory, a feature victory right here for these top well, we should say the top 6, but Richard Murtaugh not here, is huge right now.
Totally.
It is huge. All right, they're all set once again. Coming around to the FX Caprara Kia start zone. Mike LeClaire looks him over and he says, yes, we're going to go this time. And right off the bat, Greg Henry will take that lead. or lead out there. Mason Rogers right there in the number 2 spot, but here comes Gibbons on the outside. Trevor Gibbons, he wants to go up to the number 2 qualifying spot. Rogers on the inside. Gibbons on the outside as they come around for the first time. Out in front, it's still Greg Henry out of Clayton, New York, on the number 2. Out in front, 3 of them battling for that number 2 qualifying spot out there. But the amazing Mason Rogers holding down that number 2 spot. Trevor Gibbons is right there in the number 3 spot. Eric Nyer has moved up to 4th now as they come off the turn. And it is still the 2 of Greg Henry out in front. Mason Rogers back there in the number 2 spot. Nyer is back there in 3rd. Gibbons runs in 4th. Brady Howard is right there in the 54 running in 5th. And then comes the 418 of Brody Davis. Coming down in front to score lap number 3, and it is still Greg Henry out in front of that number 2. And he's got that car working good tonight. Then a gap of about 6 back to Mason Rogers, then a gap of about 4 back to Nyer in the 34, and then a gap of about 5 more back to Gibbons in the 621. Halfway sign is out for the number 2 of Greg Henry out of Clayton, New York. Mason Rogers runs there in the number 2 spot. Eric Nyer is back there in 3rd. Then a long gap, I should say. A long gap back to the 621 of Trevor Gibbons as he's in a battle with Brady Howard for that number 4 spot. Howard on the inside. Trevor Gibbons on the outside part of this racetrack, and that's been a fast spot up there tonight. But it is all Greg Henry right now. He still holds about a 6-car length lead now ahead of Mason Rogers in the 44. Here's Nyer down on the inside. Nyer wants to go up to the number 2 qualifying spot. And Nyer will take over that number 2 qualifying spot from the 44 of Mason Rogers as he drops back to 3rd. And a gap of 10 back to the 54 of Brady Howard. And Gibbons rounds out the top 5. White flag is out for Greg Henry in the 2. He holds that lead out there by about 4 or 5 car lengths over the 34 of Eric Nyer. Then a gap of about 3 more back to Mason Rogers. Then a gap of about 9 back to the 54 of Brady Howard. Checkered flag is out, and Greg Henry will win this qualifying event. Nyer will finish in the number 2 spot. Mason Rogers will finish 3rd. Brady Howard will get 4th. Trevor Gibbons will round out the top 5. And then the 418 of Brody Davis. But ladies and gentlemen, how about a nice hand? Driving the number 2 out of Clayton, New York, that's Greg Henry.
Well, there you have it. One more to go.
Sundance Leisure Thundercars coming out onto the Speedway to call all the action for you in their one and only qualifying heat tonight. The voice of the Am Speedway, Tim Balls. Tim?
Thank you so much, Jamie. Appreciate you being alongside of me here tonight. It's been a lot of fun, and we have just gotten started here at Can-Am on Bob Johnson Auto Group night here at the Speedway, and it will be Colby Hibbert in the 428 on the pole. Alongside of him, slated to go is the 94 of O.J. White. Row 2, Colin Bonner in the 1922J. That's Jared Gilson. That will complete it. Set to go. Can-Am Speedway pace truck from Bob Johnson Auto Group will depart the Speedway on the backstretch with Matt Burdick at the helm here tonight. Green is out at the FX Caprara Kia start zone, and we're underway. As they set up into turn number 1 and 2, O.J. White to the lead. Jared Gilson on the outside lane as they work down the back stretch. Gilson closing quickly down into turn number 3 and 4, trying to get alongside of O.J. White. Can't quite do it that time as they head up into turn 3 and 4 and down to the line. Gilson got a little bit squirrely coming up off the turn. That allowed O.J. White to get away as they cross the line at lap number 1. One lap is complete. And it's O.J. White, Jared Gilson 1 and 2. Colin Bonner back there in the 3 spot. Colin's had some really good runs here as of late. A lot of top 5 finishes for him this season. In that 19, he holds on to 3rd with Colby Hibbert completing it. In the meantime, O.J. White trying to take it home. 2 down, 4 to go for White. Jared Gilson, who has a feature win this season going back to July 17th, was the one and only win for Gilson in 2026. As they're working down the back straightaway, he is all over the 94 of O.J. White as they go to turn number 3 and 4. Colin Bonner still has a good seat for this lead battle up in front as O.J. White swings it to the high lane. Here comes Jared Gilson in a bid for the lead down in the inside lane. Halfway home, 3 down, 3 to go. White will hold the spot, though, as they go to turn 1 and 2. Jared Gilson, Colin Bonner, and Colby Hibbert rounding it out as they head down the back straightaway one more time. But O.J. White trying to put it home, trying to put it into victory lane. Jared Gilson has won a lot of heat races this year, would like to add another feature win to his resume. As they work it off the turn, Gilson's going to try it on the outside lane this time by with 2 laps left to go. Colin Bonner is moving in on the top 2 drivers, running back there in spot number 3 as Jared Gilson finally gets the running room he's looking for. He'll grab the lead as they hit the back straightaway. White flag will be displayed this time by final trip around the Can-Am Speedway for Jared Gilson. So he'll set it up off of turn 3 and 4 down to the line. White flag in the air. O.J. White, Colin Bonner your top 3 with Colby Hibbert in 4th. Down into turn number 1 and 2 goes the leaders. Jared Gilson looking for heat win number 5 on the year. He'd like to turn that into a feature win tonight if he possibly can. Checkered flag will be waving this time by, and Jared Gilson is pulling away from the field. Checkered in the air, heat win number 5 of 2026. It goes to Jared Gilson. He'll grab the win. O.J. White will cross in second with Colin Bonner and Colby Hibbert. So that will do it. Heat racing action is complete. Jamie Davis on Bob Johnson.